So our next safety prevention technique, now we've moved from support the team, peer coaching and checking, to assertion and escalation, which was ARC, and stop the line. Our third area is focus attention to detail, and the safety prevention technique here is called STAR. And what we should do is focus our attention before we act. And this behavior is designed to prevent us from making skill-based errors, those slips and lapses. And when we're in skill-based mode, information is not being presented to us in the typical fashion. It is being presented as cues. And so we're making decisions simply off of cues. That's exactly why in skill-based mode you grab the juice instead of the milk, because the cue is just a bottle. You're really not thinking through it. And so this technique, STAR, is designed to prevent those skill-based errors. And those errors are much more likely to occur when we're under a lot of distracting issues like our phones, our beepers, those types of things will increase our skill-based errors. And so some of the skill-based errors is, have you ever sent an email without an attachment? And I am going to actually read a text, this would fit the skill-based error, from a patient of mine. Hold on, I got the wrong one. Okay. So this is an actual text from a patient. I read the proposal. I have to say that I'm pretty surprised at the cost of moving our current furnace. I've gotten other quotes, and they have been much lower. Could you send me a breakdown? Oops, I just lost it. Could you send me a breakdown of costs so I can understand what may be the difference? Thank you. I responded back, Melissa, this is Dr. Brooks. I'm willing to move the furnace, but you will not be happy with the quality. I would suggest texting Chris, the furnace guy. So have you ever locked your keys in the car? So about a month ago, my brother-in-law was in downtown Denver. It was a very hot day. He came to a stoplight. He was thirsty, and it was rush hour, Friday afternoon, and there was some water in the back. He got out of the car, shut the door, and it locked. So he created a major traffic jam downtown Denver on a Friday afternoon. My nephew had to go bring him keys in the middle of the afternoon. So these happen to all of us. I'm sure we've all forgotten to label a specimen before sending. The lab, that happens all the time. Pulled the wrong medication or selected the wrong medication. Incorrectly calculated a dose of medication. Left behind our tools. Forgotten to log off the computer. So STAR can help you avoid these skill-based slips and lapses. And this is a video on these errors.
Oh no. Rod, you sent this email, reply all. You hit reply all. You know I was wrong. You just sent this email to me. Could you imagine?
For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
So STAR is another way of saying pause for the cause. And in a study in 1982, Robert Hall showed that skill-based errors could be decreased 100-fold if we just took 1 to 2 seconds before we did them. If we took 6 seconds, they were basically almost eliminated. They said 1,000,000-fold. But if you can just take a brief 1 to 2 second pause for the cause when you're in skill-based mode, you can dramatically decrease your skill-based errors. So STAR stands for stop, pause for a second to focus your attention on the task at hand. T, think, consider the action you're about to take. A, act, concentrate and carry out the task. And R, review, check to make sure the task was done right and that you got the right results. It only takes a second. The acronym of STAR, or this idea of STAR, was originally developed in the school setting for inattentive kids. They would make these inattentive kids stop, think, act, and review. And it was actually the aviation and the nuclear power that took this from the school setting and applied it to their industry because they knew if somebody didn't stop, think, and act, review, and press the wrong button, it could be detrimental. So they were the first ones to apply it. On an average day, we each perform about 10,000 skill-based activities. And so if there's about 3 errors per 1,000, that means on a daily basis we're having 30 to 50 skill-based errors. Now most of these errors probably are of no significance. You leave your phone behind, you just go back and get it. They're prevented from anything serious just by chance. But if we purposely perform STAR in high-risk situations, we can dramatically decrease the frequency of these skill-based errors. We can basically eliminate them. So if you purposely and intentionally perform STAR in high-risk situations, you will eliminate these errors. So people who actively do this will perform STAR about 500 times per day. For myself, one of the skill-based activities that I frequently do, and Amy, Matt, and Paul can probably relate, is sometimes we examine lots of patients during the day. It is not terribly unusual throughout the day that I will examine a patient and get done, and at that moment I actually can't remember if I actually examined the patient or not. And it is that awkward moment where in my mind there's this running conversation going, did you examine him or did you not? What's she thinking? Did you examine him? And then I'm trying to figure out, how do I go back and examine him without revealing that I don't remember if I just examined her child, and how's that going to undermine her trust if I tell her, I can't even remember if I listened to your child. So then I have to make something up like, I want to just be thorough. Happened to any of you? Yeah.
Sometimes I'll even just say it's Friday. I can't remember if I did that or not.
Right. It's not even Friday, it's Wednesday.
It only works on Friday.
It only works on Fridays are good.
It's not good
But-
if I say it on a Monday.
But now, because the exam is really a part, it could be a situation where I really miss something. And so now, when I put my stethoscope, I'll just say, you got to take a moment and stop, think, and remember what you're doing at this moment. And it's really helped me focus my attention during that high-risk time. And so this idea of STAR, some of you may say, well, I do that. The difference is starting to intentionally and purposely do it. And you're right, we all STAR. And the most famous example of starring is the candy machine. When you go and you put 65 cents in for M&Ms, and it says B11, you will go to the B side, you'll press B, and before you hit that last button, you'll double check just to make sure, because you don't want to lose 65 cents. So you will star.
All right.
What's that? You don't want to get the wrong candy. It's okay if you didn't listen to their hearts and you miss a major murmur, but you don't want to get the wrong candy. So we do star, but it's intentionally applying it. So we're going to practice. We're going to read this sentence. Okay, read this sentence and count the F's. Okay, how many F's?
I'm slow.
I had like
5,
six.
10.
I had 5 so far,
5.
but I wasn't done reading.
I missed the last 5 words.
Yeah.
5?
Three.
3? Minimum 5? All right. So I want you to do it this time, and you're just counting the F's. Okay? Do not read the sentence. Okay? Do not think about reading the sentence. You're just here to count the F's. Okay? All right, how many?
4, 6.
6. 6. There's 6.
Read it backwards.
So if you don't count the F, if you don't read it, there's 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And which words do we all miss? Of. Right. Because we're reading the sentence, and of sounds like V. Right. So if you stop, think, I'm here just to count the F's. Take a moment. You'll get it right. So, when can we use star? A medical record clerk does a second check before merging two duplicate medical records. She stars. A physician double checks to be sure she has selected the correct medication. So easy with CPOE just to select that wrong medication. She stars. A care assistant double checks to be sure the bed alarm is on after escorting a patient back to bed. Great opportunities to star.